1.
Hello and welcome to the CustomerGauge launch event. I'm so pleased you could join us today. My name's Adam Dorrell. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CustomerGauge, and I'm here to take you through the introduction of some great new stuff that we're going to show you today. But first, you've probably seen the CustomerGauge logo crossed out. You may well be wondering what's been going on with this. Are we changing the name? Is something else going on? Well, all's going to be revealed later on. But what I'd like to do now is to recap a few things we've brought to you this year, which we're very proud of. And the first one is what we call our global net promoter reporting. Well, we've got quite a lot of clients that are all over the world. And one of the things they ask us is, can you show us where our net promoter is, how we're scoring? So we've produced a suite of mapping tools, and we've also got geolocation functions. So you can zoom right into a city street and see where your promoters are, which is especially useful for some of the markets that we're working. And as they say, all business is local. The next big launch we had was our campaign builder. And we took a lot of feedback from our clients about how to build this, and what we ended up making is something that they say is a lot friendlier to build emails, invitations, SMSs, and surveys. We think it's the most advanced campaign builder on the market. Can't wait for you to try it out. And then our first AI launch of the year, which we did in spring, was our AI closed loop assistant. This is designed to get over the fear of feedback. You know, for frontline staff who don't react in a really great way when they get negative feedback, how to get back to a customer and close the loop. Well, this is designed to help them get over that fear and to have a ready-made answer generated by AI to prompt them to do it, which they can use to send an email at the touch of a button, or perhaps use as a telephone script. Anything to close the loop. It really helps you create deeper customer relationships. We've released over 30 new features this year. And that's really just also scratching the surface of the changes that we've done. You can track all of these in our release notes, and we do it on average about once every 2 weeks. So you'll know that there's always new stuff coming up in CustomerGauge. Let's also look a little bit about how our customers have been using this. Well, one of the things we know is really important is to get a high response rate. One of our clients is reporting a 98% response rate at the account level. Truly amazing. But it goes further than that. We got another client who are closing the loop at a 99% response rate within 48 hours. That's really amazing. I mean, just to get set up in a cultural way to do that is really quite something. And then another client of ours takes monetization really seriously. They're covering 100% of their revenue with CustomerGauge. They're amazing to see that much coverage that they've got from their account base. But let's talk about AI. And you'd have to be living under a rock for the last 6 months to not be aware that there are some huge changes going on in the world. And we see so many of our thinkers out there telling us about what's going to happen, from Google to Vivian Ming, more about her later, and also from LinkedIn about the changes that it's going to happen in the world of work. And for me, I guess biggest change is going to be in the world of humor, because, hey, I'm really the king of dad jokes, and surely I can use AI to help me change the landscape of my humor. My kids are going to help me saying that. But let's have a look and talk about why change is needed. Because feedback has been coming in from customers for many years. So actually, I thought I'd have a look at a little bit of a history lesson here to talk about the 3 ages of customer feedback. So I'm going to dive into the first age, which is what I call the paper age. And I'm going to take you back to the 1890s with the American census. And with this, a patented process came in to use punch cards to take the statistics of the census and to put them into a machine to tabulate automatically. It's a really good example of how technology was used in customer feedback. And you may have used something like this in your history as well. Perhaps you had a piece of paper that you filled in with a pencil or gave written answers. And they would have been sent off by post to a center to be collated and tabulated and the data sent back. Well, not very much changed until the second age of surveying, which is what I call the online age. And this is around about 1995, where the internet starts taking shape. And one of the first things out there is surveys on the internet. By the way, this is the age that CustomerGauge was born into. Here's some examples of some early CustomerGauge screenshots for the nostalgia. And of course, we've been creating dashboards ever since. Now, I love charts. I really like to represent trends and segment information in a visual way. It's how I can tell stories, but I do recognize that it doesn't affect everybody in the same way. In fact, I'm pretty certain no CEO has ever said, "Great, another dashboard." Rather, we're in an opportunity to change the way that we share information in business. And I call this the third age of customer feedback, the AI age. Or to put it another way, welcome to the post-dashboard world, which is a world where we're able to ask questions in plain language to a system and get answers back to tell us that story of information in a way that charts simply never can. I think of it as a way of democratizing data. And if you can, I'd like you to imagine a couple of use cases. I'd like you to think about you being in a boardroom meeting and your CEO asks you, what is impacting customer experience this quarter? And you're able to ask the system, again in plain language, what this is. And then you can ask, what can we do to improve the experience? And perhaps, can we find some customers who are likely to buy more because they're having a good experience? That's the promise of an AI system that speaks to you in a human language. And I'd like to go further to something that's really important to me as my vision for CustomerGauge. And that is about improving human relationships, which is the bedrock of our client base, who are relationships at scale. And they often revolve around two human beings or multiple human beings sitting in a room. And one of the things that I know can really improve that experience is using feedback, because it helps transparency in your relationship. And when you have a transparent relationship, you improve trust. And the great thing about having trust between two parties is normally good business comes from that. And that's what we're really here to help you achieve with what we're doing. Without more ado, I'd like to introduce my co-founder, Camilla Scholten, and she's going to talk about this new revolution in CustomerGauge and about how it's going to affect you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Adam. Great to be here. And so one of the perks of my job is that I get to visit a lot of our customers and to meet up close and personal and experience some of the real world problems that they're trying to solve. AI really offered an opportunity to benefit our customers in that process. We have a long journey with AI. We started in 2019. We developed our first self-learning code. It's fair to say we probably weren't as excited as we are today about it. So if I'm honest, our first attitude to AI, my first attitude to AI was probably a bit skeptical. There were some ethical issues. It wasn't really delivering any value. And then I met Vivian Ming, whom I believe is an absolute tech rock star, one of the early real developers in this space that's still around and that has a clear vision of what AI can do and what it should be doing. And she really inspired the trajectory for CustomerGauge and helped move from us thinking about, future scenarios to think about practical current scenarios. And I guess that is because at the end of the day, we are here to help answer what you need to know about running your business more efficiently, more profitably, and also more customer sustainable. And in that process, with all the data that you're collecting, it's sometimes a little bit hard to see the forest through the trees. Even with CustomerGauge's most advanced reporting capabilities, workflow, monetization, at the end of the day, you need to know what to do and when to do it. And AI is really offering us this opportunity to help see the forest and the trees, but it needs some guardrails. We're dealing with sensitive customer data, and artificial intelligence needs supervision or some complementing from human intelligence. So we gave product and tech at CustomerGauge the mandate to use AI for good, practical, and real-life problem fixing. And of course, it's got to be ethical. You've got to make sure that we comply with all the legislation because of the sensitivity of the data and the money that's at stake. It's got to be legally compliant because, we just have to respect the law that we operate under. And of course, privacy is such an important part of how we build trust in business relationships. But let's take us back to the beginning a little bit. Here's Gaige, our mascot, who's been the face of many events that we've hosted. And, this is a very familiar face for CustomerGauge, but we felt that Adam was also referencing this, that kind of like post-dashboard world. We didn't feel that he was really representing where we're going any longer. So we thought we'd make a change. And anyway, it's not like you know how you pronounce CustomerGauge properly. So we have transformed our name to show that we are AI first. It's important to commit to that, to show you where we're going and to show you where the world and the market is going. But it is so much more than a name change. We're transforming CustomerGauge into an AI-first customer intelligence platform. It shows you, of course, what you're doing in real time with your customer feedback. It suggests what you need to do next. It has all the benchmarks, customer data, playbooks, program specifics, unified in one AI-powered conversational tool. All into Gaige, the AI brain of CustomerGauge. It even has our personality because it leverages all the data and all the content and all the best practices we've ever written together with you. So we are completely hooked. You can use the Gaige brain to reduce and eliminate repetition. You don't have a need for expensive consultants anymore. And also, endless reporting creation is a thing of the past. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Tishala Changappa, our head of product, who will show you what that really means.
Thanks, Camilla. I am excited to be here. Today, we're going to reinvent how customer experience program analytics is performed, insights are derived, and best practices are sought. Customer experience practitioners and business analysts in this space will agree with me when I say majority of our work comes from looking at data, analyzing results, deriving insights, and making them actionable for the organization. It can be something as simple as creating a dashboard. What does a dashboard for your frontline team look like? What makes sense? What is easy to understand? Going a step above, what does your program look like? What is your performance for this year versus last year? What are you doing with a single particular customer touch? How are you doing against the benchmark? What happens if you've got a team that's struggling with response rate? How can you help them boost it? Versus another team that's struggling with closing the loop rate, how can you help them focus on how to be optimal in that process? What does a phone script look like? What does an email script look like? That is a lot of questions. For some of you, this may not even be your main role in the organization. You might be playing multiple hats. For others, you might be a single person team looking to drive this internally. We hear you. So at CustomerGauge, we thought, how can we help our champions do more? Easier, faster, and most importantly, smarter. How can we help data teams through this complex world of analytics? How can we help them unlock insights instantaneously so that it can drive real business outcomes? That is the chapter we're on today. It is not just an update. It comes from months of working closely with our customers, collaborating, listening, learning, iterating, and innovating. So if you're a CustomerGauge customer or new to this journey, we think you're going to love what we're going to show you next. So let's take a look at the innovations. I'd like to introduce you to Gaige, the industry's first customer intelligence platform that allows you to interact with customer data, benchmarks, best practices, thought leadership, and platform knowledge. To begin with, I'd actually like to chat with Gaige. Why don't we ask Gaige a couple of questions about our program? I think I'm going to ask Gaige about my close-the-loop performance because that's really key to boosting response rate. So Gaige, help me understand what my close-the-loop performance for the year 2025 is. Wow. In such a short time, I've got a complete analysis, a summary with my statistics, the key performance indicators. I've also got what the monthly trends are and the areas that need attention. Very nice. I'm actually going to push it a little more. I'm going to see what more Gaige can do. I'd like to understand how I'm doing against the benchmarks. Ouch. That doesn't look very good for my organization. It looks like we've got some work to do from this assessment. What I really love about Gaige is that it's not just giving you the numbers. It tells you what the numbers are, but it also always gives me the key insights and the recommendations. This is really cool. In such a short time, I am able to understand my complete performance and comparison to the benchmark. Well, let's try it a little bit more. Let's see if Gaige can give me this data in a table form that I can see how I'm doing month to month. Very cool. Not only does it give me the data, it's also telling me exactly where my star performers are and also the months that I haven't been doing really well. Okay. Table's great, but let's see if it can draw us a chart. Gaige, I'd actually like a chart now, please. A line chart. Wow, that was really fast and really cool. In less than a few minutes, I've got not only my entire close-the-loop performance for the year, I know what the key indicators are, the numbers behind it, but also where I need to focus on. This is just awesome. I'm going to actually try a different tactic now to see if Gaige can help me with that. Let's maybe switch to a completely different topic. Let's look at accounts. Gaige, help me understand what my top accounts are based on response rate. I really want to know which customers we need to follow up with, which customers are engaged. Ooh, that's really cool. Highest response rate. I've got my accounts here. I've also got the key insights of what's working for the exceptional engaged customers, but I've also got an information on where some of the balanced and low engagements are. I would not have been able to do that so quickly all on my own, just by looking at the reports and dashboards. But I'm going to actually take it a little bit further. I want to go into a specific account and see how that's doing. So I'm actually going to click right in here to this particular account to see how it's performing. And while I've got the graphs and charts there, what I really like is Gaige has actually got an account summary, an instant summary that I can generate to get all of that intel about that particular account. I can see the relationship trend. I can see what my NPS likelihood is for the next time. But I'm also able to see what the frontline team needs to be aware of, the positive areas for this account. And what's even more impressive is that I can actually see where all of this information is coming from. Who is giving that feedback, which is really crucial because you just don't want to know what to do. You also want to know what's powering this information. Now back to chat. Let's take a look at a little bit more. I want to push Gaige a little bit more. I actually want to ask it to tell me something that's not obvious in my data. I want to see if Gaige can help me with that. Let's take a look. That is fantastic. How quickly Gaige came back with all of this information that is not obvious in your graphs and charts. There's things here that you could be missing by just looking at the numbers and not going deeper inside your program. In a matter of a few seconds, you've been empowered with being able to also find out what's not obvious with your data. I'm actually going to do one last check. I've got an executive meeting coming up and I need to create a report and I'm running a bit behind time. Let me see if Gaige can actually help me with that. I'm going to actually ask Gaige to do that with graphs and charts. Let's take a look. A full executive summary, including benchmarks and graphs and charts. It's coming through. That is incredible. It's taken the different periods. I can look at the key performance. I can actually see where I am compared to the benchmark. You can sense my excitement. This is next level. I would have spent so much time trying to produce this on my own. This actually gives you a full insight and kind of overview on the capabilities that Gaige offers. I am just scratching the surface here. There is a lot of areas that you can use to leverage this in your business, whether you're looking at NPS performance, whether you're looking at response rate, whether you're looking for best practices on how to actually help your teams optimize processes. Gaige is here to assist you with every single one of those areas. I am super excited for you to be able to leverage this.
Trish, I'm astonished already about the value that Gaige Chat can offer people, the insights into their existing data in the program and communicating out what they've done already to the company. It's incredible. I really can see how people will change the way that they think about customer experience as a result.
We love it. But there's actually one more area that I'd like to take you through that Gaige is going to be empowering. It's the space of surveys. Today, if you think of surveys, it's all about structured questions. We're going to be turning that around. We're going to let your customers guide you in how they would like to give you feedback. A bit of like an interview bot. Why don't we take a look at how that works? I'd like to introduce you to Gaige Interview Bot. Gaige Interview Bot is tailored to leverage all of our knowledge in the industry while asking your customers feedback in an interview style. Gaige is curious, asking questions on loyalty, root cause analysis, or experience with a particular product or a department. Gaige is very flexible. Let's take a listen to Gaige.
Hi there. Great to have you here. I'd love to kick off our conversation by asking, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend CustomerGauge to a friend or colleague?
I'd rate it a 10.
Thanks so much for that. A perfect 10 is great to hear. What about CustomerGauge really stands out or makes a difference in your day-to-day?
Well, I really like the AI features as well as the flexibility with the reporting.
That's great to hear. When you mention the AI features, are you referring to Gaige AI, like the automated follow-ups or text analytics? And with reporting, is it more the custom dashboards or the benchmarking tools that you find most useful?
Yeah, with Gaige AI, it's the automated detection of the.
While we just heard the voice interaction, you can also have a chat interaction with Gaige, a written chat interaction. In addition, Gaige is language friendly. It's designed to get as much information as possible from your customers, more than a regular survey, while still giving you the performance that you need from the reporting and analytics. Why don't we take a listen to the Spanish version?
Podemos continuar en español sin problema. Empezar. ¿Qué tan probable es que recomiende CustomerGauge a un colega o compañero en una escala del 0 al 10?
9.
Perfecto, gracias. ¿Podría contarme un poco más sobre qué factores influyeron en esa puntuación?
Gaige is in the pipeline. We're going to release a date shortly. We are very excited about the progress we made, and we invite our customers to experience and collaborate with us on this.
Wow, Trish, thanks so much. What an amazing presentation and demonstration of what's available.
I'm blown away. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are.
But my question is that with all this excitement, when is it going to be available for our customers?
It's available right now. Yeah, and we've actually loaded in some free credits for all our customers to start using it. And so today.
Wow, I'd love to get some feedback on that, so those people use that. And the price, how do they find out about how much it's going to be?
Great question, Adam. So we have got some packages that once you've tried it out and you're interested in purchasing, you can reach out to your account managers and they can guide you through that.
Oh, that's great.
So, Adam, you are referencing this post-dashboard world.
Yeah.
Are we going to sunset our dashboard technology?
No, we're not. Dashboards are here to stay because they can produce a clarity of information like nothing else. But in learning about all of the years we did with dashboards, 18 years when we got pretty good at it, turns out that's a really good way of feeding AI because you're doing a lot of the work on segmenting the data, preparing it and getting it ready. And that's been fantastic for Gaige AI because it allows us to make it faster than anybody else is, more accurate, and we think more affordable as well. So pretty exciting stuff. Camilla, you've been talking about how the Gaige brain is going to disrupt the old model of CX. How do you see that happening?
Yes, I absolutely think that's inevitable. So Gaige offers you already two immediate benefits. It takes out the repetition in tasks in the customer experience field. It eliminates the need to constantly set up new dashboards and think about how you're going to extract data in a certain sensible way. It does it for you while you're asking it questions. But the most important thing that I saw is this opportunity to have these sort of under the surface insights at your fingertips in seconds. And this is normally not something that you can easily get out. This is where you would have to have a consultant or where you have a data analyst helping you out. That's no longer needed.
And we've got those years of experience in our best practices you can just pull out. Yeah, I do love that. And you see it's just the beginning.
I really think it's just the beginning. Yeah.
Well, listen, we couldn't have got to this stage without a lot of people behind the scenes.
True.
So I'm sure there's some people that we should be thanking here.
Yes. Well, I wanted to thank, of course, the entire product and technical team, our marketing team, because it's been quite sort of a journey to tell our story here. But effectively, everybody at CustomerGauge, and also our listeners today. Thank you for joining us on this journey. And a lot of what we show has actually been worked on in collaboration with our customers.
Yeah, I want to thank the customers too for helping us give the inspiration on this. We wouldn't be here otherwise.
True, yes.
I want to thank you for being at the beginning of the journey and really putting us on the right track with AI. I don't think we'd be here if it hadn't been for that meeting you had with Dr. Vivian Ming and really came back inspiring us. So thanks for that.
Thank you. And I also wanted to thank you because I think it kind of, I threw you a bit of a curveball with this one. So thank you for being on this journey with me.
Whatever, it's been a great journey, and I think the future's really bright. Now, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions about this. You probably want to know how it's going to work and what the impact is. As Camilla said, reach out to your account manager and also follow us, because we're going to have follow-up sessions on this about how to use it and tune it. And don't forget, every Thursdays we do CustomerGauge Live, when you can see me, Camilla, or one of the team talking about this and ask anything live. So until then, hope to see you soon, and thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.